Welcome to the Rando Podcast, everyone. I'm Chris Crimson.
And I'm Nyx. If you're new around here, we'd love it if you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future deep dives.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you joining our conversation. And a big thank you to our sponsors over on YouTube, Chris, the Plant-Based, and Emma Advanced.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Your support makes these explorations possible.
It really does. So today, we're tackling a topic that's likely crossed your mind. If you've ever tried to freeze fresh vegetables, how to keep them tasting, well, fresh.
Yeah.
We're diving into the crucial step of blanching.
Blanching.
Yeah. Have you ever been a bit disappointed when you thaw out those beautiful vegetables you froze, only to find they're a bit limp, the color's faded, and the flavor just isn't there?
Oh, definitely. It's a common frustration, right? You start with such high hopes of preserving that garden goodness or those farmers market finds for, later healthy meals, but the freezer can sometimes feel like a flavor graveyard.
A flavor graveyard, exactly. So for this deep dive, we've gathered insights from articles like Blanching Vegetables Before Freezing, Why It's Worth the Effort, as well as guidance from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics and the National Center for Home Food Preservation.
Good sources, reliable stuff.
Right. Our mission today is to really unpack why blanching is so important. We want to give you the understanding to truly transform your frozen vegetable experience, ensuring they keep that vibrant color, that satisfying texture, that delicious flavor, and of course, those valuable nutrients.
Sounds like a plan. Where should we start?
Okay, so let's get right to it. Why should we even bother with this extra step of blanching? What's the big deal?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is the fundamental science at play. Even when you drop the temperature by freezing vegetables, certain natural processes continue, just at a glacial pace, and it's all thanks to enzymes within the vegetable tissue.
Enzymes. Okay.
Think of blanching as a way to significantly slow down, almost hit the pause button on these enzymatic activities. These enzymes, like pectinase, which can affect texture, and like oxygenase, which can impact flavor and color, they remain active even in the cold.
A pause button for those natural processes. That makes a lot of sense. So these enzymes are the underlying cause of those less than thrilling frozen veggies we've all encountered, the limp, sad ones.
Precisely. Over time in the freezer, these ongoing enzymatic actions can break down compounds responsible for flavor, degrade the pigments that give vegetables their bright colors, and weaken cell walls, leading to that often unwelcome limpness.
Yeah.
Our sources clearly point to this, emphasizing how blanching helps those bright green beans stay vibrant and carrots retain their satisfying crispness. In fact, studies have shown a significant percentage of flavor loss in unblanched vegetables compared to their blanched counterparts after even just a few months in the freezer.
Wow. Okay. So it's not just about the look and feel then. What about the nutritional side of things? Does it affect that too?
Yeah, good question. Connecting this to the bigger picture of maintaining a healthy diet, while freezing is generally pretty effective at preserving most nutrients in vegetables, some, particularly the water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C and folate, can still be susceptible to degradation during extended frozen storage.
Right. They're more delicate.
Exactly. So by deactivating those pesky enzymes through blanching, we're also helping to minimize this nutrient loss, ensuring that your frozen vegetables remain a nutritious addition to your meals.
That's a really insightful point. I hadn't fully appreciated how blanching contributes to nutrient preservation quite like that.
And there are a couple of other noteworthy benefits, too. That quick dip in boiling water acts as a surface cleanse, helping to wash away any lingering dirt and reduce the number of microorganisms that might be present.
Oh, okay. Like a quick wash.
Sort of, yeah. Plus, for some vegetables, like broccoli, that brief heat can actually intensify their color, making them even more visually appealing on your plate later on.
Brighter, cleaner, more nutritious. Sounds like a win-win-win. Anything else that makes blanching a worthwhile effort?
Absolutely. For some of the bulkier vegetables, such as broccoli florets or asparagus spears, that quick blanching can actually wilt them slightly.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes them more pliable and thus easier to pack more efficiently into your freezer bags or containers. It's a bit like a gentle pre-cooking that helps with storage space.
Practical too.
And perhaps most importantly for avoiding disappointment down the line, blanching plays a significant role in preventing freezer burn. By deactivating enzymes that can contribute to moisture migration and oxidation, you're helping your vegetables maintain their quality, texture, and flavor and avoid that dry, icy exterior nobody wants.
Freezer burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst. Okay, so blanching really does seem like a foundational step for successful freezing. Now let's get into the practicalities. Our sources mention both water blanching and steam blanching. What are the key differences, and when might you choose one over the other?
This raises a really practical question. Water blanching, where you briefly submerge the vegetables in boiling water, is generally the preferred and, frankly, most efficient method for home cooks.
Okay,
The rapid heat transfer of boiling water ensures quick and even blanching for most vegetables. It's pretty straightforward.
that makes sense, straightforward and effective. But steam blanching is also mentioned. When would that be the better option?
Steam blanching is particularly recommended for certain vegetables like broccoli, pumpkin, sweet potatoes, and winter squash.
Why those specifically?
It seems to be better for retaining certain nutrients or textures in those specific veggies. The process involves placing the vegetables in a steamer basket suspended over boiling water with a tight-fitting lid on the pot. The steam then gently cooks the vegetables.
Right.
It's important to note, though, that steam blanching typically takes about 1.5 times longer than water blanching to achieve the same level of enzyme deactivation, so more time involved.
Interesting. So for most of our common freezing veggies, water blanching is the go-to, faster, easier generally.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Now, the big question that I'm sure is on everyone's mind as they consider their next harvest or grocery run, do all vegetables absolutely need to be blanched before freezing? Are there shortcuts?
That's a crucial point of clarification. Because no, not all of them. While the vast majority of vegetables benefit significantly from blanching before freezing, there are a few notable exceptions.
Okay, let's hear them.
Generally speaking, vegetables like asparagus, all types of beans, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots, cauliflower, celery, corn, eggplant, leafy greens like spinach and kale, kohlrabi, mushrooms. Though mushrooms need a prior step of sautéing or steaming with a touch of lemon juice or citric acid to prevent browning.
Right, mushrooms are tricky.
They are. Also okra, peas, new potatoes, pumpkins, summer squash, sweet potatoes, turnips, and winter squash. These will all have a much better outcome if you blanch them first. Better texture, color, the works.
That's a comprehensive list. Are there any common exceptions that might surprise people? Stuff you maybe think you should blanch but don't need to?
Yes, there are a few. Onions and peppers, for instance, can be directly frozen without blanching.
Really? Just chop and freeze?
Yep. The main reason for this is to prevent them from becoming too soft and mushy, which blanching might actually encourage in their case. Flash freezing them individually on a tray first before transferring to a bag can also help prevent them from clumping together.
Ah, the dreaded onion pepper brick.
Exactly. But it's worth noting their texture might still be somewhat softer after thawing compared to, say, blanched and frozen green beans. They're best for cooked dishes, usually.
Okay, what else?
Beets are another exception. They should actually be fully cooked until tender before freezing rather than being blanched.
Cooked first, got it.
And then there are other vegetables, like most other types of potatoes and tomatoes, that just don't tend to freeze while raw. Their texture changes dramatically. While tomatoes can be frozen, especially if you remove the skins first, they are generally best used in cooked dishes after thawing because they will be quite soft. Think sauces, stews.
Right, not for a fresh salad. Okay, that's a really helpful overview of what needs blanching and what gets a pass. So, for the majority of our garden favorites, blanching is key. Now, let's dive into the step-by-step of how to actually do this water blanching. Can you walk us through the process for someone who's never done it before?
Absolutely. Here's a straightforward guide for you. First, you need to prepare your vegetables. This involves washing them thoroughly under cool running water, get all that dirt off, and then trimming off any inedible parts like tough stems or blemishes.
Standard veg prep.
Exactly. And if you plan to freeze them in smaller pieces, such as chopped, sliced, or diced, it's best to do this before you begin the blanching process. Get all the cutting done first.
Makes perfect sense. Get them ready for their frozen future.
Fair.
What's the next step?
Next, you'll need to boil your water. Use a generous amount. A good rule of thumb is about 1 gallon of water for every pound of vegetables you plan to blanch.
1 gallon per pound. Okay.
Yeah, and if you're blanching leafy greens, like spinach, you'll want to double that amount of water to ensure they are fully submerged and don't just float on top. Bring the water to a vigorous rolling boil in a large pot on your stovetop. Needs to be really boiling.
Rolling boil noted.
Yeah,
Then comes the actual blanching itself. How did that work?
that's right. Carefully add your prepared vegetables to the boiling water. Now, it's really important to work in relatively small batches. Don't overcrowd the pot.
Why small batches?
Because adding too many vegetables at once will cause the water temperature to drop significantly. That messes up the timing and could result in unevenly blanched vegetables, some overcooked, some undercooked.
Okay. Maintain the heat.
Precisely. Using a blanching basket or even just a wire skimmer or strainer can make it much easier to quickly add and then remove the vegetables from the boiling water. Once you add the vegetables, cover the pot to help the water return to a boil more quickly, and then start timing as soon as the water is boiling vigorously again.
Timing seems absolutely critical here. What happens once the specific blanching time is up? Let's say 3 minutes for green beans. Ding!
This is a crucial step for preserving the quality. Cooling. Immediately after the recommended blanching time, you need to quickly transfer the hot vegetables to a large bowl filled with ice water, like ice water.
Shocking them, basically.
Exactly. The purpose of this rapid cooling, or shocking, is to stop the cooking process abruptly and prevent the vegetables from becoming overcooked and mushy. A good ratio to aim for is about an equal weight of ice to the vegetables you just blanched.
So if I've just blanched a pound of green beans for 3 minutes, I should then cool them in about a pound of ice water for another 3 minutes.
Exactly right. You'll want to ensure the vegetables are fully submerged in the ice water and allow them to cool for roughly the same duration as their blanching time. This rapid cooling is key to preserving their texture, color, and nutrients. Don't skimp on the ice or the time.
Okay, the vegetables are blanched and then thoroughly chilled. What's the final stage before they go into the freezer?
Once they are completely cooled, you need to drain them very, very well in a colander. Excess water is your enemy here.
Why is that?
Excess water can lead to larger ice crystals forming during freezing, which can puncture cell walls and negatively impact the texture of the thawed vegetables, making them mushy, so drain thoroughly. You can even gently pat them dry with a clean kitchen towel or paper towels to remove any lingering surface moisture.
Pat dry, got it.
Finally, you pack and freeze the blanched and dried vegetables in freezer-safe bags or airtight containers. Be sure to leave a little bit of headspace, maybe half an inch or so, in your containers to allow for expansion during freezing.
Right, stuff expands when it freezes.
Yep. Then seal them tightly, squeezing out as much air as possible to minimize air exposure and prevent that freezer burn we talked about. Label them with the date and contents and then place them in your freezer. Done.
That sounds like a manageable process, actually. Step by step, it makes sense. Now, about those all-important blanching times, you mentioned they vary. The tables in our sources are quite detailed. Can you give us a few concrete examples of water and maybe steam blanching times for some common vegetables, just to illustrate how much they can vary?
Certainly, it really does depend. For asparagus, if you're water blanching, small spears might only need 2 minutes, medium-sized spears around 3 minutes, and larger ones 4 minutes.
So size matters.
Definitely. Green beans generally require about 3 minutes in boiling water. Broccoli florets that are roughly 1.5 inches across also typically blanch for 3 minutes in boiling water.
Okay.
Carrots, now if they are small, whole carrots, might take about 5 minutes, but if you've diced or sliced them, only around 2 minutes. Cutting them changes the time needed.
It makes sense. More surface area.
Right. And for corn on the cob, the water blanching time varies quite a bit depending on the size of the ear, ranging from maybe 7 minutes for small ears up to 11 minutes for large ones.
Wow, that's quite a range for corn.
It is. And steam blanching times, as we mentioned, will generally be longer. For example, those same broccoli florets that take 3 minutes in boiling water would likely need around 5 minutes of steam blanching.
Okay, so add roughly 50% more time for steam.
That's a decent rule of thumb, yeah?
Wow. There really is a significant range depending on the vegetable and even its size and preparation. It's not one size fits all.
Absolutely not. And this is where consulting reliable resources like the National Center for Home Food Preservation is so critical. They provide very specific guidelines for a wide variety of vegetables, tested times. You don't want to guess.
Good advice.
It's also really important to reiterate the dangers of both over-blanching, which can result in mushy, nutrient-depleted vegetables, and under-blanching. Remember, under-blanching is actually worse than not blanching at all because the enzymes won't be sufficiently deactivated, but you've still damaged the texture somewhat with the heat.
Right, kind of the worst of both worlds.
Exactly. And that tip about working in small batches cannot be overstated. It's essential for maintaining the correct water temperature and ensuring even blanching across all your vegetables. Don't rush it by dumping everything in at once.
This has been such a valuable deep dive It really clarifies why my past frozen vegetable attempts might have been a bit of a gamble. Sometimes great, sometimes really not.
It happens to the best of us.
Understanding the science behind blanching and having a clear step-by-step guide really empowers you to take control of the quality of your frozen food. It's that real aha moment of realizing why those commercially frozen vegetables often turn out so much better. They blanch.
Exactly. This knowledge puts you, the listener, in a much better position to enjoy high-quality frozen vegetables from your own garden or local market. It makes incorporating healthy, homegrown produce into your meals throughout the year so much more appealing and convenient when you can actually be confident in the end result.
Totally. Less waste, better meals. So to bring it all together, the key takeaway is that blanching, while it might seem like an added step in the preservation process, is absolutely essential for maintaining the quality of most of your frozen vegetables. It's the secret to better flavor, more vibrant color, a more satisfying texture, better nutrient retention, and it even plays that crucial role in preventing freezer burn.
What's truly remarkable is how this relatively simple technique, just boiling water and ice water basically, can have such a profound and positive impact on the final product months later.
So the next time you're harvesting your garden bounty or loading up on fresh produce at the farmer's market, really consider how taking that extra step to blanch your vegetables can unlock a whole new level of delicious and nutritious meals for months to come.
Definitely worth the effort.
It makes you wonder, though, what other seemingly small steps in our food preparation might have a surprisingly large impact on the quality of what we eat. Something to think about.
That's a fantastic question to keep in mind as you continue your culinary adventures. Thank you for exploring this important, very practical topic with us.
We truly appreciate you spending your time with us.
We do indeed.
If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to explore more fascinating topics with us, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you know someone else who might find this information helpful, maybe someone with a big garden, please share the deep dive with them.
Thank you again for listening. We wish you all the very best in your vegetable preserving endeavors. Hope they turn out crisp and delicious.
And we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive. Goodbye for now.